Hi everyone, happy finally Friday. I'm here with Josh Weisel, my weather intern. How you doing, Josh?
Doing good.
Yeah, hanging in there. Well, we've been diving into some research, just kind of what I do on a daily basis. We're looking a lot at the critical angle. I think that's fascinating, and I really want to get into that more because I think it's a really important thing when you're basically predicting tornadoes. Now, we could go into that at another time. Right now, though, I know you want to know about what's happening on Tuesday. Before we get to Tuesday, we got rain coming in tonight.
It's on the way.
Yeah, it's on the way. It's coming. You already saw it on the beginning of this Facebook Live. So here it is. The next weather system is on the way, and it's popping up, and it's going to continue to rain throughout most of the day tomorrow. So we're going to show you what we've got going on. Satellite and radar showing that cloud cover that's popping up, and let's see here. There's going to be a lot of rain for people that are headed to Tulsa. So if you are going to Tulsa, just a little bit of a heads up, I would be going. You can scoot on in here a little bit. I would be going probably like late morning tomorrow. What time is the game? Do you know? Time the Razorback basketball game. I don't even know. I didn't sleep much last night, and I'm like exhausted. Josh can attest to that because I've been falling asleep big time. But he's looking it up right now. So here's the system that's coming in. Okay, so Josh Rugger's on here, and he says 12 noon. All right. Well, it's a 2-hour drive. If you're leaving early, you're going to encounter heavy rain. If you're leaving late morning, you're going to miss the game. So why don't you leave now? The rain's not heavy. It'll be better. Just stay in a hotel. But honestly, we got the system that's coming in from the west. It's going to bring precipitation, and this system, by the way, is focused right here in the Four Corners region. Now, this system is very, very, very important because number one, it brings us rain tonight into tomorrow. But number two, it has an altering effect of potentially clearing out the dew points and the humidity because that's going to potentially lessen the severe weather threat for our area on Tuesday, Monday night into Tuesday. This is a real tricky forecast. One thing we know for sure, this system is massive, but when we pan down to the south, you can see kind of the southern tail edge of this storm. So what the models are showing is that this vorticity maxima kind of moves east northeast and then moves southeast when it gets closer. And then what that does is that takes all this humidity that's over the Gulf and shoves it south. So that delays the moisture return, which if you delay the moisture return, you decrease the amount of instability, you decrease the amount of instability, you weaken the severe weather potential for our area. Look at this system though. Oh my goodness gracious. That is just the beginning stages of a day four. Now this is actually not going to be the low that cranks up. It's going to be this up here, if you can believe that. Isn't that weird how the weather works? But that's the system because right now that's way too fast. If that were to move on shore, that would not be now. Now if that swings through, say goodbye to your moisture. That's definitely gone. We still have high angular momentum, so we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the timing of all this. So first of all, here's the breakdown for the 2-day forecast timeline. We got rain coming in tonight, and it picks up throughout the overnight hours. Early morning is probably going to be our heaviest rain, lasting until late morning. And then in the early afternoon, that's when that will start tapering off. Not completely, though, for the parade. I think there might be a little bit of light rain. We'll show you the future track radar coming up in just a bit. River Valley, the rain's going to last a little longer. That's because you're farther south and the rain's clearing from north to south. So let's take a look here at the future track model and show you over time what's happening. This is the extended HRRR. I want to show you the most recent one. I know exactly. It's so true, Joshua. Josh Rugger, I see your comment. So the HRRR, if you didn't know, it updates every hour, and then every 6 hours it does a 48-hour update, meaning it goes out 48 hours. So this is what's happening on this one, where the rain really starts to pick up in the early morning hours, and it looks like even more rain pops up. And so yeah, that's some heavy rain that's falling. And then you'll notice this only goes out 18 hours. So, but it does show it moving out and kind of clearing out. I just don't see how on Sunday this system will continue to decrease the amount of instability, but it's looking like, according to the models, that's going to be the case. Now let's go back to this on the future track model, and this is the 18Z future track. That's the HRRR. Shows a similar story. Hasn't really wavered much. There's the rain starting to clear, but it looks like it's over, right? Here comes another wave of energy. Oh, it's actually decreased, which is what I was kind of thinking. And then it does pick back up as more energy moves in. I really honestly think the parade's going to be fine tomorrow. I do not think it rains. We have a little 20% in there just in case to cover our rears, but I don't think that's a technical term, by the way. And then Sunday. So yeah, how much rain is going to fall? Well, we're looking at around, and this is all tonight and into tomorrow. Saturday, you can see around an inch, inch and a half, possibly some places picking up about 2 inches of rain. It is coming. It will rain. There's no doubt about that. We've had a lot of problems with the Graduate Hotel Weatherbook Network camera loading. Now it finally did. It's a beautiful shot of the Fayetteville Square, 46 degrees right now. Dew points are in the lower 40s. All right, let's talk about this system here. What's going on with this big dip in the jet stream? Well, number one, we know the system is intense. So let's take a look at what's happening. So there's the low that's developing off to the west, but you'll notice that it's still digging. When we come up here, you can see the back of the jet stream, which is known as the windward side, which is west of the trough, is stronger winds than east of the trough. So that tells you the storm system is strengthening and will continue to drop south in the northern hemisphere. Digging means it's going south, and the heights are getting lower for this system. So there it is, marching eastward. And I mean, that's just a massive system. So let's go back to that here. I'm going to load it back up. I know it's bouncing around because I moved. So here's a look at there's the system moving in. Now, we know the jet stream is intense. We know the system is strong. And we know that there's going to be thunderstorms. The only thing that we don't know, as Josh mentioned, every aspect of this system is incredible, but the instability. And see, this is one of those that, and the reason that I'm concerned is because November 4th, the instability didn't look great either. 2-3 days before, in fact, we were removed from the severe weather risk because the models were not handling the instability properly, or nobody knew that at the time. But we found that out the day of. I have a feeling that the models are doing the same thing with this system. And some people, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm just saying you have to be cautious about that. Otherwise, you bite it hook, line, and sinker again. And you get burned again. And then it's a messaging nightmare where, well, wait a minute, I thought we were going to have bad severe weather. I thought we were going to see storms. We will see storms. Check this out. And when we look at the severe weather risk by the Storm Prediction Center, and you can't fault them for this because there are indications that the instability doesn't make it, but we also know that the models aren't perfect. I mean, what do you think about that, Josh?
There's still, I mean, this is still the day 5 outlook. It's changed already just a handful of times that you have to take into consideration that these models may just say something completely different tomorrow than the current trend. So they've already altered and adjusted the risks. So that could bounce back. We're still not in the days 1 through 3 period when you start to get those better outlooks when you go from the 1 to 5 categories. So even though it doesn't show Northwest Arkansas in it, there's still time for those models to adjust, but also we could still be in a risk once we get to the days 1 through 3 categories. There still might, even if it's not as good, there still might be a lower end risk that we're going to have to still be watching.
Yeah. So we'll get through the timing here in just a second. Couldn't have said it better myself, which is why we say stay tuned and we say this can change. We don't have all the details. I've heard a lot of people say, well, wait, I thought this was Monday. Well, we said initially it was Monday, but the system kind of slowed down. Um, and I think we were saying Monday night into Tuesday morning kind of all
Yeah.
along. And it still looks like that, or maybe a Sunday night into Monday morning. Either way, it has slowed down, and the system is pretty strong. So there are indications that it is going east and south of us a little more. But remember, there's a lot of times where it looks like the system is going east and south, and then it ends up digging not as much and lifting northward.
Mhm.
And then that leads to, well, more storms here. So let's get to it and kind of, I'm just giving you all the information here. So this is the day 5 convective outlook. And I know you're seeing this outlook and going, oh, okay, goodbye. I'm jumping off this Facebook Live because we're not in the risk anymore and we don't have anything to worry about. Not the case, because this is the day 5 convective outlook. I have seen risks change on day 1 where they
Mhm.
get pulled back. Now, I don't want to hype this. I don't want to make it sound like this is going to be the worst storm ever. The potential is there for significant severe
Mhm.
weather. When you look at the system, you know it is. But as of now, the latest indications are that the models are pushing this instability and it's not returning. I always have a saying though, don't underestimate the low level jet, especially in the wintertime or in the what we
Mhm.
call the cold season. Here's why. The Cincinnati tornado, there was absolutely no instability forecasted by any model except the European.
Mhm.
The European was the only thing that had the instability. And next thing you know, you have an F3 tornado, an EF3 coming through Cincinnati that ended up being deadly. Um, there was not a lot of instability expected. It was coming back right as we move into, the early morning hours on March 30th.
Mhm.
There were indications that it might just barely make it back. Well, guess what? The low level jet overperforms. And we got some great comments. We are technically in the marginal risk, although they don't show this days 4 through
Mhm.
8. That's actually a very good point,
Yeah.
Jacob. They only show the slight and the enhanced risks.
Mhm.
And so you got a really good point. The area of storms and severe weather will be much, much larger than
Yeah.
this. I'm going to give you a thumbs up on that, Jacob. That's a great way to put that. But there's a look at that. There's a look at the severe weather risk. Now let's take a look at the reflectivity, essentially, what we call the composite radar. So remember, everything's quiet on Sunday, but it's all about this. The reason I'm showing you Sunday to start off is because of this system right here. What does this do? Does this really sweep out and clear out the moisture? There it is, pushing south. Now, it really shows it dropping south dramatically.
Mhm.
I'm going to go back to that real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to pan south. And so remember that instability comes from the Gulf of Mexico. Look at how it just shoves that southward. So now at this point, Monday afternoon, the moisture starts to return. But remember, the storm system's coming in Tuesday morning, and it's already not there. And so the Gulf, they think is scoured out. But now, look at this. We've got thunderstorms. And remember, like you said, the marginal will be larger, and there will
Mhm.
probably be a risk in Oklahoma on Monday into Tuesday
Oh, yeah.
morning. There's no doubt there will be
Most
one.
certainly.
There's not on the day 4, but I think there will be. And then look at that. There's the storms coming through. Now, remember, this is not exactly where they are. This is the 6-hour precipitation
Mhm.
total. So these are actually much earlier than 4 p.m. Tuesday. This is probably late morning into the
Mhm.
early afternoon. So that's a good way to remember that. This is not the composite reflectivity on this, because the European doesn't have that. You can't get the composite reflectivity.
Mhm.
This is known as, and I'll show you the actual data, what it's called, contour precip, and it's called precipitation type. November 8th, Van Buren storm forecast was all over the place also. Yeah, it was. And the reason for that is that they don't expect the instability to come back, and the models struggle at that. Now, here is the thing. This is what hinges the instability. It's the temperature.
Mhm.
The temperature is, in my opinion, looking at the low level jet, looking at this system coming in, looking at the low developing to the northwest, is too cool. If the temperatures are too cool, guess what? Your instability doesn't show up.
Mhm.
When the instability doesn't show up, all the parameters, all the risks, all the SIPs, all the stuff, you name it, it doesn't show up. Now, is that going to happen? Like I said, I can't say this is for sure a clear cut case that we will get the instability back. But what I will say is that I've learned multiple times over many years you can't underestimate the low level jet.
Exactly.
You just can't.
Especially if we get any clearing, it might be warmer.
Yeah. If we get any clearing, I mean, the models have been terrible at temperatures.
Mhm.
Even the NBM, everything has been too cool.
Mhm.
It's too cool when it needs to be warm, and it's too warm when it needs to be cool. That's what I like to say with the models. But here's a look at that system now. There's already going to be strong winds. Look, you got a high that's to the east, you got a low to the west. We're sandwiched in between the two. We're going to see strong winds. Look at that pressure gradient. We're going to have winds around 20, 30 miles an hour out of the south, pumping that moisture in. And then you can see that storm system evolving and developing. Now, even if we don't see surface-based storms, we'll still see elevated storms, and then will most likely be severe.
Be a rough day for a flight.
Yeah, a very, very rough flight on Tuesday. I'm glad I'm not flying. This system will be. I can't wait to see the turbulence forecasts. So let's take a look at what the instability does. So we can look at that with what's called CAPE. And so I'm going to bring this up on this. This might take just a little while to load. And so I'm going to zoom out on this so you guys can see. All right, so here is that instability forecast. And there, watch it get pushed southward from that system Sunday, right there. Just totally scours out the Gulf all the way through Monday afternoon. Then you'll see, well, yeah, it tries to return, but at this point, the storm system's not very far away. And then you can watch, it shows it kind of creeping back into the area. However, it gets quickly shoved to the south. If there's anything that you need to know and that you need to learn, is that the instability is underdone on long range models, which is exactly why Josh made up a great point. We need to know the high res model solutions and see how this system interacts with the Gulf of Mexico. So I just can't stress that enough. Do you remember the Springdale tornado in the morning? Of course I do, Daniel. March 30th of this year. There was not a lot of instability expected. We weren't in a risk. I think we were in a marginal.
It was a very low risk.
It was a very low risk of tornadoes. Now, one of the things that I don't like is when there is a marginal, typically it says very low tornado potential. It's at 2%. But there's no way to really describe how probability works in a 3-minute weathercast. It's really hard to do. So Mother Nature is channeling Miley and coming in like a wrecking ball with that low-level jet. I'm watching. That's a good point. I'm watching the freeze line dance across the continental U.S. is hypnotizing on all the models. It is. The freeze line too is going to be dropping south, and it is going to get cold. So we can zoom back out on this. Let's take a look at this. This is the European. That blue line that you see is the freezing line. Watch that drop south. Watch it get cold. Which, by the way, if there's a little vorticity lobe that drops south, it could flurry by the end of next week. Then the system moves out, and then you can start to see a little bit more activity. But that freezing line is south of us on December 19th. So it is going to get cold. There's no doubt about that. Look at the 8 to 14-day outlook here. We're talking some chilly weather. So December 17th through the 23rd, 8 to 14-day outlook. Very, very cold. Yeah, so to sum it up, guys, thunderstorms are likely on Tuesday. Depending on how much that instability comes back will determine what type of severe weather we see. If we get into the 70s on Tuesday and it is sunny in the morning, holy cow, it's going to be bad. Yep. Oh, thank you, Josh. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Yeah. So the thoughts on that? I believe it. I totally believe it because the weather pattern is flipping, it's changing, and we're going to have quite a bit of active weather with some cold weather um, moving in as well. I remember the sandstone tornado got super cold for a few weeks. Yes, Cincinnati tornado too. I remember how cold it was following the tornado, which was the same day, because I was trying to take pictures of the damage. I didn't have gloves on, and my hands were shaking. And I remember how strong the wind was too. Meteorologist, we're going to get my 10 feet of snow before Christmas. Not 10 feet, but I think a white Christmas is the probability for a white Christmas is way better than it's been the last 10 years. Really, honestly, for Northwest Arkansas, it has been 2009 was the last white Christmas.
It's been a while.
Because Fayetteville missed the snow of the 2012 winter storm. It just barely missed. Basically, southern Washington County was the cutoff point. That was a wicked storm, man. That was a crazy storm. Okay. What's the ingredient mix for an ice storm for us? So, Kat, the ingredients are a shallow cold air mass that's in place about 2 days before the system upper level energy moves in. And Joshua says, yeah, I live in Fort Smith, Dan, so not in Northwest Arkansas. So you had a white Christmas almost exactly a year ago, December 25th. You had 4 inches of snow, and maybe even more than that. It was a big one, and the River Valley got hammered with that. So back to this, Kat. You need a positively tilted trough, which allows for that cold air to seep south with the elongated energy, which takes a little long to get in. And then we also need the what was I thinking? Shallow cold air mass, 2 days in place, and essentially temperatures below 26. 26 is the magic number. You get down to 32, 31, takes a while for it to freeze. But you get down to like 27, 28, you're starting to have some issues. Down below 26, you're in really trouble. Can we look at the November 2018 storm compared to this Monday storm? We absolutely can.
I think we were looking at that earlier.
Yeah, we were. Absolutely. That was a wicked storm, November 30th. I remember that day. We were having a Christmas party at our house. Everybody was coming over, and I was just like, babe, I'm going to have to leave as soon as everybody gets here. And I remember the lightning, too. There was an isolated supercell that went straight north in western Washington, Benton County, and the lightning was intense that night.
It was insane.
Yeah. Let's check it out, Larry. So if you really want to geek out, we're going to do that. And you can as well. So there's a really great website called Tornado Archive. I'm going to bring this up and we'll get to look at it. And then you can also look at the environment from it as well. So we're going with November 30th. All right. Okay. So what's cool is you can bring up all sorts of different things too. So we'll do that. Okay. What does this pattern remind you of with past years? You know what? Honestly, I'm going to say it's kind of similar to the April 26, 91 tornado outbreak. Yep. Okay, cool. Yeah, you just typed it in there. Very cool, Josh. So April 26, 91, which was a huge, big system that moved in. So that was, by the way, the Andover, Kansas tornado. Now, keep in mind, that's in April. April had a lot more instability. We don't have as much. So let's get to it, and I'll show you the archive on this, and we'll also look at some other stuff as well. So we'll do. Where are you? Why aren't you showing that? Oh, because I have to load it. There we go. Archive. Ready? Here we go. All right. So here is this is called Tornado Archive. First of all, if we zoom in, here's one of the tornadoes, the Lake 10 killer tornado. You had this tornado that was moving almost straight north. Look at how long track that was. Then you had the River Valley tornado that touched down. There was one that was by figure 5 that crossed over right over the interstate. And there was another tornado track that went over northeast of Rudy. So there were two circulations or two tornadoes. And then you have this long track. So what's cool about this is that we can look at the environment. So these are the dew points. And one thing that was different with this is now, I don't know if I can go back to November 29th. I might be able to do. Let's see if I can do this. November 28th through the 30th. Can I do this? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a long enough loop. Nah, it just does one day. Unless I can go here. It doesn't do anything else. So, but that's the environment. You can see the moisture returning. Now, this is some pretty deep moisture. We're talking dew points in the lower 60s. And boy, did that race in there, man. But what we can't do is we can't see it ahead of time. However, I can if I go back here and look up. Maybe it's got May 29th. There wasn't really severe weather, but let's see if it shows up. Environment. No environmental data available. That's what I thought. So we have to look and see how that evolved. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to MMM Image Archive. And we're going to go into November. We're going to go November 30th. And we're going to go 2018. Hit go. And we're going to do extra days, extra 3 days. So let's look at the vorticity analysis so we can go back in time. Actually, what we need to do is we need to go November 28th, and then we need to go ahead 3 days. There we go. All right, so here's the system that's organizing in the Pacific Northwest. What is that, 3 day? Wait a minute. What's going on here? Yeah, that was right. Okay, so there it is, organizing in the Pacific Northwest. That's the day before. There it is dropping in. What? That's the first image. So there's that system. And then that's the last one. So I got to go. Let me do this again here. Go 4 days out. Oh, another thing too. I'm going to go here, max frames. There we go. All right. So this is 4 days of that data. So there's the system evolving. There it is diving in. And then, yeah, then it just kind of rips northeastward. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't look as similar as the system coming in on Tuesday. Let's look at the jet stream. Big old dip in the jet stream. There it is organizing and coming through. Now, if we look at a system that is similar, and we look at, I'm trying to remember, January 21st, 99, I don't think that's going to be similar. What was the one we were looking at that I said was looking similar?
I think it was, we're looking at some of the ones in 2015, and then I think one was in 2012.
May 20th, 2013. So let's look here. Let's go to upper air. I need to write these down, huh? So this was a ski jump jet stream, but not as big of a trough. There's one that we were looking at. Oh man, and Josh had it, and it looked just like it. If I can think of it, I'll get to it. So that's what we got. Sorry, that was still on there. Okay, guys. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to. What does the Magic 8 Ball say? Yeah, no kidding. We should get the Magic 8 Ball out.
We should.
Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll do that.
Where is it?
Man, what was that?
Was it the December 23rd, 2015 that we're looking at?
Was it the Rowlett tornado?
Because I knew we were looking at the Holly Springs.
Oh yeah, Holly Springs. Yeah, that might have been it. December 23rd,
2015. Yeah.
2015. Yeah.
Because that was another big old trough.
Yeah, big trough, but it has that northwesterly trajectory. Mm-hmm. It's not as big as the other one. What about December 26th, 2015? Man, just that energy swinging in.
I remember we looked at one in 2012.
I can't remember. I don't remember now. There's one that matched up perfectly. All right, go get the 8-ball on. I know the one time Ruggs isn't on here. We were looking at it. I'm going to text him.
Which one of these drawers is it in?
Middle one, top middle. I want to say it's in there somewhere. Yeah, guys, trying to remember here. The system reminded us of. All right, here we go. Let's do the 8-ball. Let's have a little fun. All right, let's say, is there going to be a severe storm in the weather coverage area from this system on Tuesday? And it says, as I see it, yes. There you go. All right.
Interesting.
Forget all the models. Just use the 8-ball. What else? February. That's what it was.
Oh,
Super Tuesday.
that's
Super
right.
Tuesday was the date. Josh said it. So check this out. If we go to February 5th, 2008, look at the upper level system.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So let's go back to, we'll add this to the stream. This is the one that it reminds us of. We'll get back to the 8-ball, but this is Super Tuesday. This is the one that had a really, really long track tornado in Arkansas that was on the ground for a long time, killed 13 people. If we look at the storm reports, there it is.
Oh, wow.
That was a big, big,
That's a
big,
nasty
big day. Big day.
And that one's less kind of angled like a ski jump.
Yeah, that
similar to this
one's
one.
not as angled as a ski jump. Now, if we look at the vorticity, check this out. It's very similar. If we go through here, so I want to get it as it evolves. So you got to go back in time. Okay, there you go. This is a kind of a similar system. So we have one wave coming through,
Mhm.
another wave that came through, which is our rain 2 days ago.
Mhm.
And then here's that system diving in. Now, notice how it is digging, and then it's a big trough.
Mhm.
And then it starts curving northeast. That almost looks identical right there. That really does. If we go back to the jet stream, as that lifts northeastward, look at how that vorticity swings through. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a vorticity map. And we'll take a look at this.
Oh, wow.
Okay, guys, you got to see this.
It's very similar.
Oh, you weren't even, were you seeing it? Let's see. Yep, you were. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a side by side, and we're going to bring this up full. And we're going to, let's see if I can do this. There you go. So there's the system coming through on Tuesday. Big, big, big trough. Look at that swinging through. And the day of the severe weather on Tuesday, there's the low. So let's go back to this. And there's the Super Tuesday tornado outbreak. Wow, that's real similar.
Really close.
In fact, I'd say the system this Tuesday is bigger than that one.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely wider than that one.
Yeah, it's wider. All right, so let's go to, and then let's bring this up full and continue to look at this. So we'll go back to this. We'll move along in time, and there it is flinging through. Yeah, this Super Tuesday was, oh, yeah. Yeah, Josh was telling me. I know 121.7 miles how long that tornado was on the ground.
Wow.
Longest track in Arkansas's history. So if we go back to February 2nd and go to the upper air and then look at the jet stream, So here's the jet stream digging in. Make sure that's on there. Okay, yep, you guys can see it. So there's the jet stream that's digging in. And then this one does take that little positive tilt.
Mhm.
Kind of very similar to what this one did. What this one's going to do, most likely. So let me bring this up and you guys can see it. Wow,
Wow, that's really close.
it is really close. Yeah. Now the question is what was the instability like? Because if we bring this up, there's the dip in the jet stream. And you can get to see that. And then you look, there's the dip in the jet stream. That's the one on the right is the Super Tuesday. And then here's the one on the left. That's pretty wild how, and then it kind of meanders and kicks east.
Mhm.
So we know the potential is significant for this storm to just crank away. The problem is that what's that instability going to do?
Mhm.
That's what everything is hinging on. If it's surface-based instability and the surface-based instability comes back, then it's going to be a pretty significant severe weather event, potentially, historic.
Mhm. This will be one of those systems that if we don't end up getting that instability, it's going to be probably a really good thing just because
Yeah.
no one likes to see severe weather impacting
No,
anyone. So,
absolutely not. So, let's see here. What else? Oh, look at Mega Doppler. There's a lot of lightning showing up off to our west, so you can see this.
here comes that rain.
Yeah, here comes the rain, and look at the lightning over in Oklahoma City. So, that storm system is organizing and intensifying. So, more 8 ball. Couple more questions.
Someone asked about the 8 ball and snow.
Yeah, 8 ball. Yeah, that's a good actually question. We'll do that one as well. Okay. Will there be a feels like the water came out of this, doesn't it?
Felt light.
Yeah, weird. Did Josh sabotage this thing? Will there be a tornado within our weather coverage area
That's a good question.
next week? Will there be a tornado in our weather coverage area next week? It says very doubtful. All right. So it's not buying the instability coming back. Very doubtful, but not zero.
Yes. Low, but not zero.
Are the models underdoing the instability for next week? Most likely. There you go. Will there be a significant measurable snow between now and January 1st? But we have to mention for our area. Otherwise, yeah,
Oh,
of
yeah,
course.
true.
Yeah. There will be a significant. Better not tell you now, it says. So let me do that again. Will we have a white Christmas? How about that one?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Will we have a white Christmas in our area? Very doubtful. Oh, yes, definitely.
Ooh.
That's what it says. I thought it said very doubtful, but it says yes,
That's a good
definitely.
one. For the snowfall, we should ask about Fayetteville since some of the mountain regions might see.
Yeah.
snow.
Will Fayetteville see snow before the end of the year? Outlook good.
Ooh,
There's a lot of good
Some good-
responses on that.
some good
Will we
projections.
see 70 degrees in our weather coverage area? Well, we didn't go 70, but it's very possible.
Mhm.
If we do hit 70, you can say goodbye to all that instability not returning. That is returning. How about Mark says, my chase east is hinging on that surface-based moisture returning. Absolutely. It all depends on that. No, there won't be any bad warnings coming in tomorrow. This is just a little thunder, little lightning, some heavy rain. No doubt. Don't get me wrong there. There will be some heavy rain, but there's that system coming through. So, well, guys, I think that about covers everything. Just basically, I know I'd love to give you more information, but it's a wait. But I still think Tuesday system is
Mhm.
significant. And I'll be on Sunday, by the way. Sunday, we're going to have a better idea because that system will be out. We'll see if the Gulf is scoured out and dew points go down into the 40s. We'll see what the quality moisture return is like. We'll see all that stuff, and we'll have a better idea on it.
And
But
those short range models will be coming in too.
short range models, typically you multiply 2 or 3 for the instability on
Mhm.
the short range models compared to the long range. But then the long range will start picking up on it
Mhm.
in the near term. So, all right, guys. Well, that does it. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your Friday. Get ready for that rain moving in, and we'll see you. How's a Baja Blast stash? Well, I had one last night. I actually had that Baja Blast Cravings box. It's a pretty good
Interesting.
deal, man. $10. It's a lot of food.
It's pretty good.
I haven't been very healthy lately. I need to work out tomorrow. All right, guys. We'll catch you later. For Josh and I, have a great night. We'll see you later.